Welcome back, Commanders. It's Jaws Munch here, and we're going to be checking out another replay done live on Twitch. If you'd like to submit replays to go over similar to this, definitely check out the Twitch channel. You can see it in the link in the description. And we're going to be talking over a couple things from the repeat command to walls and proper use of units, things that maybe you haven't really had a chance to learn about in the past. The video is going to be rather long. You don't have to watch all of it, but at least watch probably a good 15 to 30 minutes and you'll get the most knowledge you possibly can. And then after that is going into just entertainment value. So if this is something you'd like to see in the future, definitely subscribe. We make content like this all the time. And also like the video, helps out the channel tremendously. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, welcome to another replay, everyone. We are watching Duffy and Dino going in combination together on Esther Creek. This map is really one of my favorite maps, honestly. It doesn't get played nearly enough. It has a decent amount of metal across it, and the front lines are relatively well established. You can see there's a nice creek running through the middle here that will separate the two forces, and it just plays out really well because guess what? Ticks cannot cross this creek. So this is a generally tick-free map, which may bug some and may encourage others. So just opening up with a couple solar panels here and a Vortex bot lab, whereas Dino is going for the Armada bot lab with a couple windmills. Wind speed on this map is pretty good at a total of 10 wind speed. Not bad at all. And so I do imagine most players will eventually start going into wind if they have not already. 10 wind speed is about what you would see on glitters for an average. So there we have it. Ticks OP. Yes, ticks are definitely overpowered. Ticks have so much at their disposal. Their speed, their tiny little bodies. Oh, I think we might end up seeing Dino figure out that this map cannot really use ticks effectively because we are opening with them here. A lot of them, actually. We have a total of 5 right off the bat. Maybe they're just used for vision here. That could be the plan. Oh, my correction. I thought for sure Esther Creek was too deep for ticks, but apparently not. Well, I stand corrected, everybody. He is able to go and rampage apparently, so that is my bad. He told me ticks can actually cross. It was updated. So this map recently got an update then, allowing ticks to be used. Well, I'm not sure if I like that update actually, because man, I enjoy having a little bit of a lack of tick usability sometimes. But there we go, we got one pushing across trying to hit some of these constructors and shut down by the LLT. But a good attempt and a decent scouting here. We can check out his vision. He's got a scouting of the bases that can even help in case someone wants to go air and do a bombing run. So very effective scout, and a good job. We got Duffy pushing up with a couple grunts and going heavily into the eco. We've got constructor in the back line upgrading the mexes across the map, and another constructor over here working on a small amount of energy with some E conversion as well. With the commander pushed up, getting as many mexes as possible. And that's always a good thing to do. Getting mexes on, if you're split in half like this, definitely attempt to, we did not finish this one. Definitely attempt to expand in both directions as quickly as possible, so that your mexes in the front are quickly captured and your mexes in the back are equally quickly captured. Very effective at expansion. Yeah, you trolled and left your mechs to decay and die. That's 2 metal per second you could be making, and instead it is nothing. That is too bad. Anyway, front lines are being established. We got a raiding party here by Dino, it would appear. He's looking to do some aggression and not really having too much success here. It's a little bit of an uneven trade at 2 to 1, with Dino taking the extra loss there. But that's all pennies in comparison to what will happen in the future, I'm sure. If I was Duffy, I would definitely be looking to possibly capture this higher ground here. That's a relatively good location. And you can also establish a radar tower there, which will give you the ability to build defenses and have good vision of what is happening across the map. We do have some aggression pushing into the back line. One thing you do have to be careful of with these types of raids is if you don't end up hitting the economy at all, it can be a donation of metal. And let's see what how much metal is dropped. Only 300, 200, 300. So it's not too much metal loss there, but you do have to be careful if you aren't getting good eco damage or hitting high value targets. That can be somewhat valuable to your opponent on occasion. That was a donation. Yeah, the mixes never come up till later. Donating to the poor. Yes, Duffy knew that he was going to be going up against people who needed all the help they could get. This looks like a standard commander explosion, like a charge to the death from this evil witch. Unfortunately, Duffy does not appear to be taking a retreating path here. Ooh, they are going to live. Duffy with only 4% here, and only a handful of thugs to help back him up. But thugs will be very effective, guaranteed, especially if they are backed up by res bots. Let's actually check out how much thugs Duffy's planning on building. He's got 8 thugs in queue. From here on out, I'm actually surprised that Duffy does not have a repeat command on. That's quite interesting. I always enjoy doing repeat commands. I think they're very valuable and effective, but I do find a lot of people just prefer not to. So interesting. We've got a handful of resurrection coming out with a mace rocket bot push. Super good. What's the hotkey? T is the hotkey for repeat commands. Definitely recommend putting your factory on a repeat command. It lowers the amount of APM required to push your opponents, and it's pretty easy to adjust as well. Super OP. Yep. Ooh, this is a bad trade. We got resbots backing up everything here, and Duffy's just taking damage upon damage and getting a somewhat bad metal trade here, because I believe every wreck lowers the amount of metal that you actually get from that unit by about 50%. So it's just an infinitely bad trade to have units dying, but it is better to get the metal in your possession than to not, obviously. And it does look like Duffy ends up pushing in and actually getting the ground, which is good, because now he is sucking up the opposing forces metal instead of his own. Super valuable. Oh, minus 30%. Very good. Minus 30% on your metal. And that is another reason why resurrection is so valuable, because you maintain all of the metal rather than it being only 70% of the standard metal that you would have. We are opening with another bot lab here. Interesting play, honestly. I'm wondering if we're going to see this reclaimed in the future, because now we are pumping out 2 sets of thugs here. Alrighty, so we're pumping out 2 times as many thugs, but it does cost us an extra 600 metal to have this factory up, and that is one thing that I think is interesting. I do see the value of it if you have a significant metal advantage, but there is also a risk to it, as you are spending a decent amount. I mean, how many thugs is one bot lab worth? Probably about 4 to 5, probably 5 thugs. So it's 5 thugs worth of metal to get an extra bot lab up. But, you know, not the end of the world, especially if you're already winning. You can see I still have him. Yes, you're in a good position. You're in a very good position. I would say possibly get a couple more res bots out in your ratio. Maybe do like a ratio of 2 to 1. I find that a 2 to 1 thug to res ratio is really quite good, because you can get these corpses resurrected rapidly, and that can be very effective, and also repaired rapidly. Handful of thugs coming up still, and these guys are just not being used in the back line yet, so that means that Duffy has a power spike waiting to happen here, just waiting to happen. We've got a huge amount of res bots here for Dino, and he is taking very advantageous trades here, very advantageous. It can also actually be nice to have even a build turret on the front. One build turret can help significantly. Ooh, we can see Dino has been zoned out by an aggravator. That's a bad deal. I don't know if he has vision of it or not. Let's check. He never got vision of it, so that's a tough thing to deal with, because now zoned out and taking heavy damage consistently. And I think we might be relying on Duffy at this point to be able to hopefully break through and crush the opponent there, because that's gonna be a hard thing to break. You definitely, anytime you see an aggravator coming down, you want to aggress heavily on that opponent and push them and try to take full advantage of that metal sink, because that is like 1,300 metal. Yeah, 1,300 metal all being used to build that. So that means he is a weaker opponent during that time, so trying to abuse it's very important. These thugs not taking excellent trades here. I would think actually mixing in a handful of Rockos wouldn't be a bad decision. Handful of rocket bots could help with just outranging a little bit, you know. And what actually would be very effective here is if Duffy built maybe even a handful of walls right here and put his thugs up against those walls. He would be trading infinitely better than his opponent at that point as well. So just a couple things to think of there, as but who knows, the shenanigans that may be going in the back, or the purchasing of T2, who knows. I'm not really paying that much attention. Maybe there's a little bit of AMP stall or something. I'm sorry that the lobby died, fellows. Resurrection of the max. Getting up a warden, definitely a good decision. That'll help you break this front line and constantly push them back. Lobby just vanished. Ooh, that was, I believe, Dino's commander there. That's not good. A commander worth of metal sitting on the front, pushing up with the excessive amount of units we have, going for that reclaim. Extremely valuable. Oh, and he deguns the corpse. That's always frustrating. Very frustrating to see. We can see T-Surya is a 40 OS player, so he's a very smart individual, very good at doing his job and taking advantage everywhere he can find it. That's a lot of metal. 3,000 metal just sitting here in thugs and maces. Insane. And 1,000 metal over here for T-Sir. T-Sir definitely getting a huge metal advantage here. It's always unfortunate to see. At this point, I think Duffy is in a great position to start fully outscaling. Double E-store, full walk, common to beginner, D-gun them. That's an excellent idea as well. Excellent decision. I don't know if Duffy has E-storage yet. I think maybe just one. One, yep, only one e-storage, and he's going for a bombing run. This is the infamous Duffy transition to bombers. And so he is just biding his time. He's not even worried about his opponent at the moment. He is focused entirely on getting those bombers out to the front. Probably going to be bombing his opponent first thing off the bat. We can see that Sir has gone for a T2 transition and is now upgrading mexes. That's going to be very devastating to everyone who comes into contact with him. So Dino's lane is going to be in deep trouble. We did have a com bomb here. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. They still are holding fairly well. And I assume that bombing run's getting close to being ready. We have a total of 13 bombers and another 284 bombers queued up, ready to go. Hiding in the trees where no one will be able to see them. Masking themselves amongst the foliage. Oh, and now we see T-Sir is coming to aid his friend, coming to aid his fellow commander. And Duffy's kind of in a bad position here because he is now 2v1. A very dangerous position to be in. His commander, ooh, one shot, and he's gone. Very, very explosive. And we're going to be losing this front line relatively soon. Nothing here will be able to stop this aggression that they have done. We do have the pink commander getting a massive amount of reclaim from that at a total of 4,000 metal. So if Duffy is going to do something, he had better do it now. You can see the bombers are heading out as we speak, pushing, looking to do just a very basic early bombing run on any units they can find. And bombing the aggravator into the dirt. Excellent decision. Eliminating his ability to zone control. And now explosions across the map. Missing the geothermal plant, which is a little bit sad, a little bit frustrating. Maybe not getting the most value there, but still good enough, as most of them have no damage at all. We do have a couple AA turrets coming up here, but not enough to really stop much. I would definitely try to destroy that T2 factory, and I'm sure that's a pretty heavy target they're looking to hit. And the T2 factory is gone. Geothermal plant next would be my guess. And instead we go for the T2. Not a bad decision, but geothermal definitely should be on that list. And I'm sure we'll see. Oh no, we actually ignored the geothermal completely. That's interesting decision, honestly. Good wipe across the front there as well, or the back line, hitting the economy. And they're just rampaging across the map at this point, going to wipe out as many T2 factories as possible. Oh, and we're starting to see a couple fighters coming out and targeting those bombers. So those bombers are short-lived now at this point, and we are being pushed aggressively on the front line by some T1 as well. We got some pounders holding here, holding to the best of their ability, but being shut down. And we're still in a relatively weakened position. Thankfully, Dino does have T2 coming up, but the question is it enough to be able to hold this push? Duffy is really not in the best position. He only has one T2 mix up, and the second one is coming up shortly, but he is being aggressed severely right now. Very, very rapidly being pushed on. And those pounders just don't have the health to be able to hold Thankfully, we got some fiends coming in from, who is this? This is Larch. Larch coming in to save the day. Duffy's bacon being very, very well saved. So lucky of him. Now he is going to have to do his very best to push the advantage that he did have after bombing across the entire map. It's not looking good for the blue team here, though. Not at all. Got a handful of maces. And Pounders being resurrected. That is devastating. All of these units being turned against him. He's in a pretty bad position still. With only a handful of fiends and a handful of Pounders, he is definitely going to need help from Dino to be able to hold this army off. He's going to be trying to use this flame turret as an advantage to be able to get maximum amount of DPS with the amount of units that he currently has at his disposal. Thankfully, Dino coming in with some of those shock bots will definitely be able to hold this. Well done, well done. Pounders falling apart over time. The flame turret doing massive amounts of damage to the swarms. Everything just falling apart. Thankfully, those shock bots really putting in the work required. Really shutting it all down. And now we got some fiends coming out of our own from Duffy's side. And we got a big metal deposit available to be reclaimed here. 2,000 metal. That's not bad. And across the map, we have regained control, which is excellent. Definitely should prioritize getting some of these metal extractors back up if possible. It'll be very valuable getting that extra metal into the fold. And we got Dino giving us a warning of what he is about to do here. Try and keep an eye on it. Ooh, we end up firing a, what is this, a persecutor? Persecutor and some, I'm not really sure. I'm not seeing it, Dino. What do you do? What do you do here? We got some hounds, some shock bots, and sending a bunch of metal to Duffy. Oh, sending a bunch of metal to Duffy, I see, to get that fusion reactor up. And that's a good play, actually. Getting a fusion reactor up, getting your energy stabilized, not a bad decision. And you ended up reclaiming. Excellent. We got some hounds pushing in here. Good trade here. We do have another persecutor on the other side. A pretty heavy amount of defense, and I don't know if we have quite enough to actually shut this down. That persecutor doing decent damage to these support bots as well. The radar bot being a relatively slow unit, and he's probably gonna be shredded. Oh, got away with his life barely. Transition. Trying to get that energy up. I'd probably go for energy converter as well. Yep, there we go. Energy converter goes up relatively quickly. Try to abuse as much of that energy production as we do have. And now we are moments away from being able to scale beyond all reason. I do actually like having reclaiming all of my windmills at the point where I have a fusion reactor, just because wind is generally a little bit less effective compared to a fusion, but it's not required, and not everyone does it. It is just a personal preference on my side. Oh, yep, here we see Duffy getting rid of this wind speed. And it is also partially to do with the fact that wind takes up a large space. It's a large area that you have to use to go for wind, and that can be a bit tough to be able to fit everything you need in a small location. So sucking up wind speed or wind power, generally a good idea if you are low on expansion room, and if you need room to place down more build power or want to try to compact a little bit more things together to just use your build power more effectively. Excellent pop-up turret here from Larch. Very good decision. Pop-up turrets being really quite effective. We got some Shuris, or not Shuris, Sheldon across the way. Sheldon going to be able to outrange our hounds here, so definitely something to be cautious of. Hounds do have, I think, a little bit of a speed advantage. We can see here we got 69 speed, whereas the Sheldon has a total of 50 speed, so they can out maneuver and catch up to the Sheldon, but sometimes the damage they take before they get there is maybe not worth it. Constantly being poked down, not really a great thing to see. Ooh, and we also have a plasma defense coming up. Interesting play, not something we see all the time. Plasma defense. Yeah, Sheldon being abused to the max, along with the Arbiter. Arbiter, unfortunately, will not be stopped by this shield, as it's going to just get infinite value targeting these units. Taking out the static defense of the Scorpion easily. Dino, you can push with that tick spam most times. Yeah, pushing with a little bit of tick spam to distract the fire. And that shield is gone. That's unfortunate. We do see that going for a fusion reactor back here in the back line. Definitely. Excuse me, definitely a good play. Fusion reactors, increasing your metal to energy income effectiveness. I'm really curious what the play is going to be here. We're going for a very greedy play from Duffy going into an Aphis as well. That is quite greedy, and you must do that very cautiously, because you could easily get pushed on and lose everything if you don't do that carefully. So good to see we get a T3 factory coming out. So the goal, I guess, is, at this point for Duffy, is just to hold and kind of distract until they get their T3 built up. We're not even overflowing energy, which is kind of insane. I would have expected us to be overflowing a bit here, but we're not. Now we are, because we ran out of metal, but originally we definitely were not. So I would think going for the energy conversion should be top priority here. Get like everything building onto energy conversion, because that's going to be the maximum efficiency you can. There. Pink pushing in with some T1. What do we got? Okay, we'll do that in a minute. But that T1's just not going to stand a chance here. Easily shredded by just a handful of hounds, yeah, just pushing. This was honestly a silly play from Pink. You're never going to be able to push into all these hounds and snipers with a handful of T1. That's just not going to happen. Gun down and shut down. Ooh, going in with the Ghost. The Ghost being very valuable and effective unit, able to stun everything. Oh, and we have Larch coming out with some T3. The Karganeth, the spider mech of the Cortex faction. Not very tanky. Only, what is it? Only like what, 300 or 3,000? No, 12,000 HP. It does have a decent amount of DPS, and it also has an anti-air on it as well, so it is very versatile and able to climb into the mountains, but definitely a little bit of a lower HP unit compared to some. The Shiva as well on the field with a total of 9,000, 10,000 HP. Similar in HP to the Karganeth. Think of them like Razorbacks in how you would use them, as they do have health, but not a ton of health. So a handful of snipers will easily be able to shred them, so just be cautious of that. We got some marauders coming out here as well. Marauders going to be doing some kind of fast raid, I'm sure. T2 is now well established in the back line again. We've got a fusion reactor coming up, advanced fusion reactor coming up from yellow. But the recovery speed of this team, the red team, is just not nearly as fast as it should have been. And the T3 are pushing in, devastating to all of these defenses and weaker units across the map. Ooh, the mammoth, the one thing that's able to counter basically any T3 unit you send its way, with the massive HP that it does have, although it has a rather extreme metal cost as well. Going up against the bulwark being very effective at taking out both light and heavy units, whereas the pulsar is more designed specifically for heavy units. Very effective defensive tower, probably underused, honestly, with its different weapons it has on it. It has a heavy pulsar laser, it has a lighter green laser, and then two weaker light laser weapons on the front of it as well. So a very effective at wiping out both spam and T3 alike. What do we got here? What's happening? Oh, it looks like we have a spy bot in our midst, possibly going for some kind of sneaky some kind of, maybe looking for an anti-nuke play or something here. The spy bot is unseen though. They're not really sure where he's at. Currently he's been cloaked. And we now have movement again. Whoever built that anti intrusion system, very smart. Where is that at even? I can't find it. They had one. Oh no, I don't know where they built that. Anyway, very smart decision, whoever built it. And we've got a pulsar, or a paralyzer coming out on the front as well. That'll be able to do some very long range stuns. Duffy pushing into, it looks like a handful of snipers here. How many snipers do we have on this ridge? Only 3? Well, he'll definitely be able to push past that if he wanted to. He could. Things are kind of slowing down again on the fronts, it looks like. People not really sure that they want to aggress into the opponent's area. Building up forces, scaling, preparing for a hole that may be found in the front line here. He had nothing compared to what I had. Well, I could have pushed that. Yeah, if you had pushed right here, this would have been a very effective push all the way down this line. But that's all hindsight. You can't really know that until after the game. So somehow you might have been able to scout it, maybe with like a spy bot or something. You could have tried to scout it, but knowing to scout it is tough as well. We got our marauders pushing in here, going straight into the middle, right through these T1 walls as if they were nothing. Finding a bunch of mammoths. That's definitely not what you want to see when you have marauders. A bunch of mammoths is definitely definitely a bad way to trade. Oh, I think we might be a little bit too late into the game for these Marauders to push effectively, honestly, because at a certain threshold, Marauders just don't have the HP required. They are fast units, but the HP sometimes is just lacking. We have a handful of Karganeth, really quite a full army. I'm curious if we have a Behemoth maybe coming out soon. That would be epic to see. We got some catapults being extremely valuable at wiping front lines. They have the range required to just decimate anything in this area. I'm also kind of surprised to see that we don't have a few more radar towers here, just to get extra vision, a better idea of what is in the back line. It's kind of surprising. The Aphis stack is coming online. Aphis, yes, we have some Aphises in the back line for Duffy. He is getting ready to expand rapidly and really not producing too many. He has a little bit of a T3 front line, but not an excessive amount. He is largely spending it on economy, it would appear right now. Oh, not really looking as great for Dino in the back line. He's got a little bit less metal income here compared to Duffy. Duffy is at a total of 200 metal income, whereas Dino is only up to 76. So Dino is even having struggles building just a single anti-nuke here. Ooh, we do have some pushing in on the back line here. We got catapults across the front, raining down their rapid fired missiles of devastation across everything in its path. Look at these catapults just demolishing even the spam that is coming their way. Sheldon's still being balled up and used effectively. Ooh, but Duffy coming in with the Vanguard. Vanguard having extremely long range. You can see they're basically like a mobile gauntlet or a mobile rattlesnake, but they have a even larger explosive shot that's going to be able to break through most every defense that is out there. A very common use of these Vanguard is to just wreck defenses before pushing in with a heavier army. We also have a handful of two Razorbacks here. Razorbacks do have high DPS and are very good at killing spam, but going up against a demon may be a little bit tough for them. Two demons probably going to be able to burst down these Razorbacks without too much trouble. You can see the Razorbacks just melting away. Thankfully, we got Dino with the snipers coming in to shred these demons, and the Vanguards finishing them up one burst at a time. Excellent takedowns there. Those snipers, it might not even be a bad idea to push those snipers and just maintain control with your Vanguards, just to continue to help burst down anything that may come up to them. The tick spam being really effective here, actually. I believe those are Duffy's ticks as well. That will definitely help them be able to get the vision required to continue to burst down their opponents with those Vanguards, getting accurate shots. Extremely good, extremely effective. Karganeth pushing in as well from Larch. One Razorback's going to be able to actually come in and get through this shield. The shield is weakening, however, with a catapult and a couple Vanguard all putting fire down on it. These snipers just going straight through the shield as well. This is only a matter of time before it's completely destroyed. And all we have to do is get a couple Resbots backing us up here, and we'll have massive amounts of reclaim at our disposal. Yeah, I definitely like the Vanguard push. Vanguards being extremely effective units. Good kills with those catapults there. That's definitely something that everyone should be worried about. Catapults pushing in on you is never fun. Thankfully, they are relatively weak units. They don't have much HP at all. So you can see they only have a total of 6,000 HP. That's really weak late game. So they do fall apart like paper. We also ended up getting looks like a long-range plasma weapon on a hill here. What's the range on this puppy? Pretty deep into their territory. Almost, if he had moved it up just a hair to right here, he probably would be able to even hit their geothermal plant here. That would have been an excellent target. Spam pushing through. Catapults always getting value with the long range fire of missile barrages across the map, covering a massive area. Total DPS of 613. Whereas the Vanguard's DPS is a much smaller DPS at only 160 DPS. Quite weak in comparison to the catapult, but still effective at what it does. It is also all-terrain, which means you can climb up hills and get advantageous locations due to positioning, whereas the catapult definitely has a more limited range of where it can shoot from. Ticks getting all the way into the back line here. Ooh, but getting shut down. But we do have good vision because now we can see where their T3 factories are. And it looks like blue is pushing through and actually wiping a large portion of red space as well. Like getting pretty deep into there. Juggernaut's coming out though. That will probably end up slowing them down quite a bit. How's our APHIS scaling? We are now at a total of 6 APHIS, and our scaling is maximized. We got a decent amount of metal storage as well. Duffy's not planning on losing a single drop of his income with a total of 3 metal storage. Pretty intense. And his energy conversion is just barely, it's not keeping up. It's not keeping up with his APHIS farm. So he's definitely going to need to expand his energy production. And yeah, we're getting ready to see Duffy turn onto a massive powerhouse of destruction. Overflow bad, overflow equals noob. Yes, we all know, even I, the mystical Jaws, struggles with massive amounts of overflow. Duffy is not a team player, to say the least. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm a team player. That's why I overflow so much. I'm a team player. Okay, let's go ahead and skip through this section. It's a little bit slow here as everyone's scaling. I'm waiting for a push, something very effective where we can really be impressed. Wow, front line still. Oh, here we go. A massive bombing run, wiping out, looks like a APHIS. Probably going to blow up their T3 as well. I'm sure that's in the works. They would probably desire to blow it up. Maybe they just barely missed it there. That's gonna be GG on that side for red though. Red, there's no way red's gonna come back from that. Vanguard holding the ridge, raining down fire. on every T3 unit. Oh wow, what was that? Oh, that was another D gun. Another D gun. Thank you, MVP, for the bit. Appreciate that. Appreciate the bit. Ooh, what is this? Plasma cannons across all the edges of the map. A danger to every economy everywhere. We also have a couple of plasma cannons coming up on this side as well. Long range plasmas. Honestly, their range is a little bit low compared to where it needs to be. They can't hit that many effective targets, unfortunately. They kill your long range plasmas. How long is this game? My goodness, this game seems to be going on forever. Got Juggernaut pushing in here, bursting down some of these mammoths. Starting to break through the defenses here. A couple of these vanguards pushing in as well. Another Juggernaut explosion. Titans coming online. Duffy's got a handful of Titans coming out as well here. Very good to see. The commander getting a D gun off. Not quite breaking through. These snipers just constantly shredding the T3. Blue coming over here on the side. Turquoise pushing in with the Juggernaut of his own. And this is going to be hitting economies. And they call it there. GG, boys. What a good game. Well done, well played. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, going over several things about updates with Esther Creek and the repeat command and so much more. If you guys got value, please subscribe, and I will see you guys on the battlefield.